Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points. And today on the show, we will be talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. It is a Sunday. NFL football is back. That means we have made it through that summer desert that exists between August and September. I guess basically from July on. Luka Doncic wins a knockout stage game. Slovenia advances. Serbia lost, which makes their path to a championship that much cleaner. So we'll talk about what we saw from Luka. We will talk about Eurobasket in general. And we will talk about, again, whatever you guys want to talk about. I also want to give some flowers to the Redeem team that was honored over the weekend. And, you know, Dwight Howard got into the Hall of Fame. Carmelo Anthony got into the Hall of Fame. LeBron James is now an active Hall of Famer who you know, he'll be playing in this upcoming season, in his 23rd season, as an actual Hall of Famer because he was honored as part of that Redeem team. So we'll discuss a little bit of that. We do have some iTunes questions. I have some Twitter questions. I'm sure you guys will have your questions as we go through today's show as well. So yeah, busy weekend, busy day. No real update on the Clippers situation, other than apparently a lot of you guys really liked that show with Pete and me on Friday. So if you haven't checked that out, I thought it was a really good episode. Hope you guys do. So, but yeah, we have a couple reviews here from iTunes. We have a few questions from the Twitter mailbag. It is a loaded show, so we got to go ahead and dive on in so that we can all get back to our Sunday NFL or our NFL Sundays. All right. So quick reminder, please do hit subscribe wherever it is that you guys are watching right now. If you guys are watching on Twitter, which you can follow me at Anthony Irwin LA. Cool. If you guys are watching on YouTube, which you can find at youtube.com/@Lakers Lounge, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Those things help the show quite a bit. And then if you guys are listening in the morning via podcast, please hit subscribe wherever it is that you get your podcast, preferably on Odyssey, because I'm a company man. And we will go ahead and dive on in, beginning with the couple of 5-star reviews we got on iTunes. All right, QB Breezy 12. Well, do you guys want me to do Mailbag first or Luka first? Let's talk Luka first. He scored 42 points. Slovenia knocks off Italy. And he was insane in that first quarter. Absolutely dominant. He has a real pep in his step. And it's actually cool to see him with the array of shots that he was able to put down. He's turning the corner on guys. He's hitting that step back. Every so often, like, you know, obviously I've paid fairly close attention to his career, not obviously a lot closer attention to him now. But one of the things I've noticed is he really tries to shoot himself through slumps, and he is good enough to where he will just basically work on the court through a type of shot that he feels like he should be making or that he's close on or whatever. And it's been really fun to watch him in this tournament and you know, basically all summer since he's lost this weight. It hasn't really felt like he has had to go out there and really work on a specific shot. The one thing I would say comes close to it was a couple of games ago, he was struggling from deep, right? And he just kept on firing away. And I love that he just doesn't have a poker face, because when he finally made one in that game, he's like, finally, but didn't have any such problem today, especially in that first quarter. Looks great. Did have a bit of a hip thing. I don't think anybody is very worried about it. So I think he should be fine. And he is moving on now in a field that no longer has Serbia. Serbia lost to Finland. Lauri Markkanen looks really, really good. There's a young kid on Finland also who is going to be playing in the league someday soon. But Serbia is out, and there's a real chance here for Luka. Now, look, got to still, I think, as Iztok pointed out to me on Twitter, Germany is still probably the most talented team left in the field. Ton of NBA talent on that roster, more of it than Slovenia has. But look, you get Jokic out of this tournament, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Luka looked as kind of, oh my God, as he did in that first quarter. And I think there's a real chance here for Luka to have some real momentum going into training camp coming off of this thing. Sometimes you worry a little bit about like disrupting an off-season program, but with this being the first summer where he's implementing this different off-season program where he really focused on losing weight and stuff like that, it's kind of nice that it can just like this tournament can just be part of his rhythm. It can be just part of his workout regimen, and he can enter training camp with a little forward momentum going into it. I also would imagine that LeBron is paying pretty close attention to this, and he's seeing how Luka looks. And as I've said, those two guys have been in touch all summer, and especially early on in the summer. Luka, I think, wanted to give him a little bit of space once once LeBron opted in and you had all of that stuff going on. But yeah, I think there's a real chance here for Luka. Look, it's single elimination, so we might only be talking about this for another game. But Luka looks great, and he looks fired up, and he really kind of looks to me like a kid with a new toy, where he kind of he looks like he is remembering what it was like to have this kind of explosiveness and this kind of athleticism, that lateral quickness that he has in this tournament. And he looks like, he gets out there and he just kind of looks like, yeah, oh yeah, I used to do this all the time. And it looks like a kid with a set of toys that maybe they found or whatever, but he just looks so, healthy is the word, is a great word for it. He just looks so, he excited to get back out there and display this particular set of skills. So good stuff again from Luka. 42 points. He's had a couple of triple doubles in this thing. He's been spectacular. And to those who are kind of handicapping MVP this season, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this tournament, especially if they continue to move on, if by the end of this tournament, Luka's MVP odds really kind of shift, because he looks great. Also over the weekend, the NBA Hall of Fame honored the Redeem Team. That is my favorite Olympic team of all time. That game against Spain in the gold medal game is my favorite basketball game of all time. Obviously tough to see all of those guys up there on that stage and notice who wasn't there. LeBron was kind of asked about Kobe, and a lot of those guys were kind of asked about Kobe as part of the festivities over the weekend. And LeBron said, they got Kobe there, and Kobe really got everybody to lock in. I think you could really make a very real case that Kobe's participation in 2008 kind of gave way to a real maturation of that next generation. So you had, like Dwayne Wade talks about it, how they, got to the gym and they're all kind of patting themselves on the back, like, look how early we're getting here. And we're really going to get after it here and all this stuff. And they walk in and Kobe's walking out. He's already drenched in sweat. And they all kind of realized, shit, that's the work ethic it's going to take here, huh? And all of those guys talked about how their proximity to Kobe, seeing how hard he works and all of that stuff really kind of taught them, oh, okay, there's still a lot of meat left on this bone here. And I think for that entire generation, whether it was LeBron or Melo or Dwayne, and I think to a different extent, Dwight, like for a lot of those guys, they all kind of saw Kobe in the work that he put in, and I think elevated their game, and the NBA kind of benefited from it. So that's one of the things that I'll remember from that Redeem team. I'll also never forget the way that everybody really kind of bought in. Remember, this was coming off of the 2004 embarrassment. That group got bronze, or if they even got bronze, but they were, yeah, I think that's what it was. They got bronze, and seeing as we have such an advantage here in the States, in terms of star capital, that was really kind of an ugly outcome, and everybody really kind of came together, fully bought into the culture that Team USA basketball really kind of put into place. And again, I really think Kobe was a big part of that. So yeah, it was really cool to see all of those guys out there together on the stage, kind of a pull at your heartstrings moment, because you wish that Kobe could have been there to celebrate with them. You know how much this meant to all of those guys. And yeah, that was really cool to see. I'm really happy that those guys are being honored in the way that they were. And then, to take it a step further, Dwight Howard gets into the Hall of Fame on his own. Shaq was the one who presented him. Carmelo Anthony gets into the Hall of Fame as well. And in Dwight's case, Melo, I think is always going to be kind of remembered for not being LeBron, which is tough, when you're playing in that dude's shadow. But Melo was the best college basketball player I have ever seen, and had a stellar NBA career. Didn't do the winning that I think was expected of him in the NBA, but when you're competing against LeBron, that kind of limits the amount of big games that you can win. And then Dwight, he gets in, and I think it's really cool that Shaq, finally kind of grew up a little bit and presented for Dwight here. I also think it's really cool that Dwight got that redemption after the first stint with the Lakers was such a disaster. He gets to go back, and I think we really remember him in a different light, in large part because of that. His role on that championship team, they don't win that championship without him. And it was really kind of incredible to see that was at such a late stage of his career, and he was still such an impactful player in his prime. Like, you talk about guys who would absolutely dominate in different eras. Doesn't matter what area you put Dwight in, he would have dominated. He was an incredible basketball player, actually underrated, I think. And if you put him in this era now, like, he's exactly the kind of player that the Lakers have been kind of missing, frankly. And yeah, just a really, really cool to see him get his flowers as well in that ceremony. And yeah, congratulations to all who were honored. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into your guys' questions here, starting with QBreezy12, who writes, hey, Anthony, will Jeannie being kept in the role as governor for the foreseeable future delay or negatively impact the hoped Presti pursuit? Do you think Presti would be willing to join the Lakers after finally winning one in OKC? What would it take to bring him here? Well, for one thing, it would take a lot of money. He has a pretty great gig there in OKC, because he basically got fan buy-in on tanking and then rebuilding, and nobody really holds him all that accountable for trading away Harden and not really doing much with KD and Russ and that whole core. That market, that city doesn't really think about that as part of the story anymore with him. And he went and now he builds this team that could go on a dynastic run. I'm still a little skeptical of calling them a dynasty. They could, but I don't know. I just think this CBA is built in a way that makes it basically impossible to have a dynasty from here on out. So, we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, as far as like whether Genie specifically being governor puts a pause on any plan to go out and get Presti, it definitely does. Everything I'm hearing is that so long as Genie is there, Rob is safe. And they are not going to bring in Presti even to work above Rob. Even like I think that would be the ideal, frankly, to go out and get Presti and bring his vision to the Lakers, and then have Rob there to help execute that vision. But it just, I don't think it's going to happen. So long as Genie is there, Rob is safe. Rob has built one championship roster. He now is responsible for bringing in Luka. He's a made man for the Lakers. We'll see how this next season goes, and we'll see how the Luka era goes. And we'll see how quickly Mark Walter wants more of his people in there. But so long as Genie is calling the shots, and again, that sale still isn't officially finalized. So long as Genie is calling the shots, Rob isn't going anywhere. And so long as Rob isn't going anywhere, you can't go out and get Presti. Next question here comes from Kush Corleone, who writes, so I got early access to 2K26 by paying the absurd $100 to do so, but I'm playing career mode, and I'm a two-way 3-and-D shooting guard, the exact player that the Lakers need. So this year's new thing with Shams dropping by to report breaking news or just chat with the broadcast team when during games he joins the announcers for a quarter. Obviously, I've started the season 6-0 with our easy schedule to start. A couple of things for this specific game against Miami. Shams comes and goes, this is Luka's team now, and LeBron doesn't seem too happy about it. And this seems to be LeBron's last year with him picking up his player option. He's got to do what's best for him. Also, Wiggins isn't starting. And Vando is on auto start with Austin. Then, obviously, after 3 games, my made-up player takes Austin's job, and Vando remains with the starters. Just thought it was funny and wanted to point out, obviously, no correlation to how the season will go, but sometimes 2K does stuff if you keep playing past your first season in story mode that actually does end up happening in the real league. So some foreshadowing does take place often. All right. So the Shams thing I do find a little interesting because this is all on a script, right? And I would imagine Shams is going to okay any kind of script that gets put together for 2K. And if he okayed that language, then I do think it's possible for for you, if you want to read between the lines and say that 2K and Shams is doing a little bit of I guess, for lack of a better term, reporting here. I'm not gonna begrudge you if you wanna read between those lines and go there. The big thing for the LeBron situation, as I've said, what's the better situation, right? Like, what if he's going to take the minimum, or if he's going to take less? Then, I mean, unless he's going to go take less and be with the Clippers and not really take less. But if he's going to take less to go be with the Cavs and go like elevate them to that next level and win a championship there, then I guess that's a pretty good story. But like, if he's going to wind up taking less, then why not just take a less and stay in LA where you wanted to be? The other part of it too is like, there aren't any trades out there that he would okay. And then after this season, he's not going to have a no trade clause anymore. So that's going to kind of complicate things. And if like if he really, I don't think, like we just talked about Dwight Howard, right? And how his initial departure from the Lakers really kind of like it was one of the first nails in the end of his in the coffin that was going to contain his career, was when he left the Lakers and when he left the way that he did, and kind of talked some shit on his way out. And Lakers fans were booing him like crazy. And it's just how, like, look at Russell Westbrook's career since, it didn't work out with the Lakers. Like, I keep on saying it. Lakers fans, I have an entire career because of how passionate Lakers fans are. So this idea that like he's going to leave, let alone on bad terms, and not really have any time afterward to redeem himself in the eyes of Lakers fans there, like that does affect his business aspirations after he finishes playing. And he has a lot of business aspirations after he finishes playing. So I don't know. I understand why a lot of people are doing this, and I understand what 2K is up to here. They're also like, it is a script, it is a game for entertainment. And maybe after that first season, LeBron does choose to sign elsewhere, or LeBron does, decide that he wants to go and end his career elsewhere, or he just wants to hang him up, right? Like there's plenty of time between now in training camp or now in the beginning of the following season for him to come out and say, you know what, guys, this is my final season. And because one thing I don't think he's going to do is finish out next season and then be like, all right, that was it. That's it. No farewell tour. That's not how he's ever operated. So yeah, I think and then look, like right now, this is important as I'm talking. LeBron just put on his Instagram story, Luka dominates at Eurobasket. I just finished telling you guys that LeBron has been paying attention to this stuff. 30 seconds ago, I just said that, and he puts it on his Instagram story. These guys have been in touch all summer. I really believe they're excited to play together this summer. And yeah, like I don't know. I understand why a lot of people, and there's an entire industry dedicated to LeBron news, LeBron speculation, and what LeBron's going to do next, and the potential drama between the Lakers specifically and LeBron James. I understand where all of that is coming from, but I've been saying all summer, I never thought he was going to go anywhere. He isn't. I think he's going to retire a Laker because that's what suits his business interests at the end of his career. And I also think he has a real chance in front of him to win a freaking championship this season, especially if the Lakers do enter the season with the intent to move that first round pick that they can trade this summer. So I don't know. I get what 2K is doing there. It's a game dedicated to entertainment, and it's the kind of soundbite that they want to grab your attention while you're playing and stuff. But I don't think LeBron is going anywhere. I think he's very dedicated to this upcoming season. And again, as I was talking, I was telling y'all that like Luka and LeBron are excited to play together. They've been talking all summer. He puts it on his story about whenever it was. I'm not really on Instagram, but LFR Pod tweeted out the image here of, I'll put it here up on the screen too. Why not? But we are seeing here from LeBron also that he's again watching Luka, paying close attention and supporting his co-star, right? Or the guy that he will be the co-star of. There's LeBron's post from a little earlier today. So I fully believe in what the Lakers can build this summer. And I think by the time we get to training camp and LeBron sees this, and especially given the soft early start to, the start to the schedule, or the Lakers schedule this year, that there's a real chance that LeBron looks around and goes like, holy shit, we could really do something. And the moment that he does that is going to be a really cool moment if it happens. I'm going to go with when. Fuck it. It's Sunday. None of our fantasy teams, our football teams, most of our football teams. I'm a Vikings fan, so they won't even lose tonight. Be optimistic. Join me in optimism. It's fun. It's weird that I'm the optimistic one, but it's fun. That's a fun question, though. Thank you for that question, Kush Corleone. That was a fun, way of looking at 2K as a potential source for offseason fodder. All right. First question from Twitter comes in from @Bashir_1. What do you think the first leak off between Rob and Luka will be about? That is a fun one. I will say Ayton. If Ayton, kind of loafs around and isn't the kind of fired up the Lakers really need him to be, given the lack of depth behind him, if Ayton isn't quite right, it's going to be interesting to see how everybody handles that. The thing is, like, I think Rob was a little faster to throw LeBron under the bus, because of the Russ trade. I think he did that with LeBron a little faster than he ever would with Luka, because with LeBron was at a stage of his career and at a stage of his life where you're like, all right, this guy's not going to be here forever. I just have to outlast him, and then maybe I get that reset afterward. With Luka, it's like he's probably going to be a Laker for at least a decade, I would probably say, right? Like that's the plan anyway. And I don't think Rob wants to throw another star under the bus that way. He also has new ownership coming in. And I think if that new ownership catches wind of Rob starting to do some of that funny business, they'll get him out of there. So I don't really think we'll see a leak off. And again, I'm optimistic heading into the season. I do believe that, Ayton will be on his best behavior heading into the season. Again, Lakers have that nice soft schedule at the beginning of it. So, I think Ayton will look really good. Luka's coming off of this Eurobasket run. I think LeBron, it's going to be really interesting to see the message that LeBron sends to the rest of the league, because, he comes out with that statement, or Clutch comes out with that statement, and basically no team sheds all of their plans or starts moving stuff around to be able to trade for LeBron. And actually a lot of the reporting about teams' interest in LeBron was basically like, yeah, we're interested in him, but more in like a buyout capacity. And I think LeBron is going to be like, okay, fuck all you guys. I'm still LeBron. I was just second team All NBA last year. And I can't wait to see kind of like an angry LeBron, what that could possibly look like. An in shape Luka is a really exciting thing too, right? As evidenced by the way he's played in Eurobasket so far. So I don't think we'll get to a leak off, because I think the beginning of the season is going to look really good. Now, as the season goes on and maybe DeAndre Ayton's attention starts to kind of float away or whatever, then maybe we see what that looks like. But or maybe the leak off would be JJ, where, JJ was hired as a LeBron coach, right? Obviously LeBron's co-host on that podcast and all that stuff. I know that JJ and Luka like each other, to a certain amount, because I believe they play together and stuff, but that's not like Luka's guy, right? So it'd be interesting to see if the Lakers underwhelm strategically and stuff like that, if we start to get some, not animosity, but some discomfort there between JJ and Luka and Rob, right? Because JJ is very much a Rob hire. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm still of the mindset, and I'm heading into the season fully of the belief that I think the Lakers are going to be quite good at the beginning of it, and we won't need to deal with any of that nonsense. At King Gonzalez writes, are the Vikings better with Darnold or JJ? I haven't watched I don't think Darnold is playing yet, right? So I is he? I don't believe he is. NFL scores. I don't believe because I haven't seen the the Seahawks are they just started. Um so we'll see how Darnold looks away from Kevin O'Connell. I really believe in KOC being the reason that Darnold looked as good as he did even last season. But look, the entire Vikings season comes down to how good JJ is going to be. And that terrifies me, right? I wanted them to go after Fields. I wanted them to go after Kyler Murray when there was that little bit of drama there between Murray and the Cardinals and stuff. I wanted the Vikings to go out and buy low on those guys. There's the Colts quarterback who is not starting, right? Their previous first round pick, whose name eludes me right now. I wanted them to. I do think if JJ doesn't look as good as he kind of needs to look, I do think they would go out and buy low on that Colts quarterback. But yeah, I didn't want them to bring Darnold back. I always thought he was kind of fool's gold over the course of the season, and then when the games got really, really important, he turned back into a pumpkin. So wish him all the best. We'll see how it goes for him in Seattle. But very, very nervous about the JJ experience starting tomorrow. To answer the question, like, are they better with one versus the other? They'll probably like Darnold probably would have made them better now, but they would have always had that ceiling on him. JJ comes with a higher ceiling. I like that he can run a little bit more too. So, yeah, we'll see what that kind of looks like. But next question here, at Danny Sam 1188 and 5. Pick one GM of an NBA team or coach. So like if I could just it would be Presti pretty easily. The one of the many frustrations that I have with Rob Pelinka is that like okay, you don't want to put anything into the end of the LeBron AD era, then go out and like see if you can move some other stuff and, go into the next era with some more resources at your disposal. But he didn't really do either. He didn't sell to bring in more stuff. He didn't buy to give those guys a better opportunity. They just kind of like sat there and idle. And I just don't think you can do that in the NBA or in professional sports nowadays for that matter. So the one thing that you can always say about Presti is he's always looking for ways for, to add a second round pick here or there, or, to give himself some extra flexibility by way of extensions with players and stuff. Rob, I think far too often is just kind of like sitting on his hands. And I don't think that's a very healthy thing to be able to say about analysis to offer up about an executive in the NBA. So I would easily like Presti is, clearly the best in the NBA right now. And then as far as coaches go, give me Spo. If you could give me, I could basically, if the Lakers go out and they do what the Dodgers did, they would hire Presti and they would hire Spo, and the culture of the franchise would be set from then on out. And it'll be interesting to see if they do something like that. Maybe they convince themselves that JJ can be part of that culture setting, but I don't know. I do kind of think when Mark Walter and AEG fully takes over, that we'll see a fresh start all over again, which is kind of tough, right? Because you're going to have Luka. I think he'll be a part of the fresh start. And when that happens, or if that happens, I would keep a very, very close eye on not just Presti, but some other high level executives around the league who, and they would just kind of build out like a super front office that optimizes their drafting strategy, their asset acquisition and asset management and stuff. And you would go out and get a coach that aligns perfectly with the front office's vision, and you would kind of carry out forward that way. That's how I would like to see this play out. Final question here from Eric Cam. Is it too early into the football season to make chili? Absolutely not. Not if like you live up north somewhere and it's a little cooler. On Thursday, right? Yeah, it was Thursday last week here in the Irwin house. We made chili dogs. Because for some reason I just associate football with chili. Jen makes great, like Jen has literally award-winning chili. So she made her chili. I grilled up some hot dogs, threw some, buttered up some bolillos and put those on the Mexican buns is what I threw on it. So threw that on the grill, got those all nice and toasted, and threw some chili in there, and man, that was good. Now our weather lately has been kind of cloudy and gross, so it was really good chilly weather. But no, so long as you live in air conditioning, you can make it as cool as you want. Make chili whenever you want, man. Do you? It's football season. Let's go. Let's see. I will look through some of the. Okay, so Luka, somebody here saying that Luka is better than Jokic, not based on how their careers have played out to this point. I understand why people want to believe it. And look, if Luka takes another leap this season, could totally see it. He's that talented of a player. And it's really great that the Lakers have somebody in their organization now who can get to that level. Because I do believe he can get to that level, but he needs to be a little bit better defensively. Jokic taking those strides defensively has really helped him quite a bit. Jokic almost beat the Oklahoma City Thunder single-handedly last year. And, he's a freaking beast. So he has the crown right now, and it's on somebody else to steal that crown from him. Maybe Luka does it, but I would love to see it. And look, nothing would make me happier than to be able to say, like, going into a series, the Lakers have the best player in it against everybody that they face. That would be great. Let's see. So uncharted territory, but this is from Darius is back. Uncharted territory, but all the reporting at the time that he was a Laker, and overnight he wasn't, since the Lakers were likely the ones that prompted the investigation into Uncle Dennis trying to strong arm teams in 19. Wouldn't we have a case for damages? Oh, so like if basically it comes out that the Clippers were giving Kawhi, like, I'm of the opinion that if the NBA runs this investigation and they have hired a law firm to conduct the investigation now, but if the league finds that between 2019 and until now that Kawhi was getting extra benefits from the Clippers, I think the league has to go through all of the Clippers books and all of the Clippers players books, because you've had a few players. Nick Batum has left money on the table. Ivica Zubac has left money on the table. James Harden left a little money on the table. Obviously, Kawhi. So, like, I believe they had a backup center, one of the white dudes from Duke, right? Like they've had plenty of guys who have given the Clippers some extra flexibility by way of deals, or by way of taking less than they could possibly get. And it's such a trend at this point with, like, again, I'm talking with, like, if the league runs its investigation into this aspiration situation with Kawhi and finds that Ballmer did basically, fund Kawhi's sponsorship through aspiration. Like, if the reports are true about how all of that went down, I think the league has to go through all of the Clippers books and all the Clippers players books to see what's going on there and what's gone on there, because they have had one of the deeper rosters in the sport for a long time running now. And one of the ways that you're able to do that is by having guys take less. And if guys are taking less so that you can be that deep, and they're taking less because they know that they're going to get extra from elsewhere, however that would be, then that's a huge advantage for the Clippers. Now, it's hilarious that they haven't been able to do anything with that advantage, but still, that would be a monster advantage. And that's the exact kind of thing that the league has to eliminate as a possibility for all of their teams. So there's a lot riding on this upcoming investigation, obviously, with the league and aspiration and the Clippers and Kawhi and all that stuff. And if these reports from Pablo Torre are true, and there were untoward payments and benefits to Kawhi and Uncle Dennis and that entire camp, I think the league, like if I were the Lakers, I don't know if I would be able to sue for damages because the Raptors were also technically a possibility there. But if I'm the Lakers, if I'm any other team in the league or any other owner in the league, I'm like, yo, why did all these other guys take discounts then too? We should look into that. And, Pablo said he's going to look into the books with the Knicks and stuff like that with Jalen Brunson, and that'll be really interesting to watch. So yeah, a lot writing on this upcoming investigation, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. All right. I believe that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. A little shorter today. It's Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon. There's no point in doing an Austin Reeves investigation. He took the max that he could get, store runner. Like that's the thing, is that like the Lakers haven't given out less money to anybody. Anthony Davis was, got every dollar that he could from the Lakers. LeBron James just opted into his max contract. You have Austin got, he signed his contract, which was the most that the Lakers could offer him at the time. And then he's expected to, get upwards of $30 to $35 million after this contract. The Lakers haven't gotten any discounts from any of their guys. So there is no point in investigating there. Whereas some of these other guys, have taken a little bit less from their teams. And I think we have to wonder why, especially with the Clippers. There's a pattern of behavior here with Steve Ballmer that I think he has to prove that it's just a coincidence, and we'll see if they're able to do that. All right, now this is going to do it for this episode of the Lakers Lounge podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Again, please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. Please help us grow and all of this good stuff. And until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your weekend. Make somebody else's. Go Vikings tomorrow. And I will talk to you when I talk to you.
Bye, everyone.